Hi.
We saw Suicide Squad.
We didn't walk out of this one.
Well, I mean, eventually we did.
Well, you technically true.
Yes, I mean, well,
We
when it
walked
ended.
out during the credits.
Yeah.
Boo.
Enough candy canes and brass knuckles flying at my face.
Yeah, yeah. Okay.
So you guys liked it.
Yeah,
I
I
wouldn't-
actually did.
I don't want to go as far as to say I liked it, but it certainly wasn't nearly as bad as I thought it was going to be, and I certainly don't think it deserves a 20-something% on Rotten Tomatoes. I really don't.
The movie's flawed.
Deeply,
it
horribly
is.
flawed.
It's absolutely flawed, but the movie,
It's fun. It's fucking fun.
between the last couple of these movies, Man of Steel and Batman v Superman, this movie has charisma. It actually has life to it. Like, I gave a shit. Like, I had some like, it's definitely a movie that's still in this universe, and you can tell. I mean, it is gritty. It is, people are just on fire and falling off of shit. People fucking die in this movie, but
But it's a concept and characters that makes sense with.
yeah, like
There's a difference. I mean, it's...
I had a good time with these characters. This movie to me, and maybe this is why I liked it too. It did kind of feel like someone gave like $100 million to Bruno Mattei and told them to make a comic book movie. Like, make a movie where the big ass motherfuckers go downtown to stop some evil shit. They're stopping the villain from Mortal Kombat Annihilation, and then shenanigans will happen. I don't know. Like, the movie, I had a good time. Like, it's not Fury David Ayer. It's not End of Watch David Ayer. It's Sabotage David Ayer. And I can still have fun with that.
Yeah, I mean, there's definitely some writing problems. The third act was fucking awful. The villain was useless. But the cast is charismatic and fun enough that I was willing to overlook it for the most part and just go along with the ride. Like, if like I was saying outside the car, if I had to, like, do star ratings, which we don't do, I'd give this a solid 2.5 stars and be like, yeah, fucking watch it.
I could recommend it as a matinee.
Yeah, matinee.
But it is flawed. It
deeply
is.
fucking flawed. But I was
But
surprised
so
by
Strike Commando.
yeah. I was surprised by some things.
Oh, okay. Those are the standards we're using.
Some things
In a movie like this, why not?
some things kind of turned out as I expected, like Jared Leto being fucking awful. He was fucking awful.
I didn't like the Joker in this. No, I wasn't much on that. I don't even know if it was so much his performance I didn't like, because if he was using this same performance as just some, like, I don't know, pimp daddy villain or something, I'd be like, well, Jared Leto was kind of entertaining in it.
But it wasn't a good Joker.
No.
It really was. That was the thing. It's like, okay, I appreciate that he felt the need to take it in a different direction and go someplace that hadn't been done before, but it just didn't fucking work. It really didn't work. Now, Harley Quinn, on the other hand, I thought did work, surprisingly.
This is the only time she didn't annoy me in something.
Well, the character is supposed to be kind of fucking annoying, but, I mean, they got the character right. I wish they had put her in that fucking outfit that was unnecessary and lingered on way too much. Sarah's breathing in deep. Go on, babe.
So how much did you hate
I'm
it?
waiting. I'm just waiting for my turn.
Come on, no, get in.
I wasn't much for this movie. Not at all. I think it overestimated my desire to see people shoot each other in the darkness. I think that Jared Leto looked like Batman. Wait, which was the Batman movie with all the neon lights? Was that Batman Forever?
Forever.
Yeah, it
and-
looked like Batman Forever barfed on Marilyn Manson.
Yeah, I agree with that. I
Yes.
do. I did not like the Joker in this movie.
Margot
No,
Robbie was driving me crazy. It was like a Muppet Baby version of Fran Drescher with the least comfortable looking hot pants. And hot pants are not generally speaking look comfortable, but these were like if they took Magenta's hot pants from Rocky Horror and ran them through the wash.
Well,
That her butt crack had to have been so chafed
No,
by the
I-
end, because it wasn't
I-
just that they were underpants; is that they were underpants that were purposefully tucked up her butt.
yeah, no,
No, that costume choice was god awful.
I like both Muppet Babies and I like Fran Drescher, so maybe that's why I didn't mind her all that much. I got laughs out of her in this movie.
She was doing her best, and I do agree that as far as like usage of that character is concerned, this movie didn't do too terrible a job because it wasn't so much a. It wasn't so much like she got tricked into being a crazy person by the Joker as they kind of formed a super, super toxic relationship with a weird power play between a medical professional and a in-house inmate. And he wasn't just like, yeah, whatever, I got this broad following me around. It was like a genuinely codependent relationship, and I enjoyed that. But the writing was so bad that no one ever had anything to fucking say when they opened their mouth.
No,
I like the bar scene. Some of the one-liners got me.
Okay, so the bar scene basically, for me, it's set up to be like, okay, now we've got something to say about the nature of good and evil. And that is, we are bad guys.
Yeah.
And bad guys are bad guys.
Yeah.
Let's do a shot and save the world.
I didn't mind that because charisma can go a long way. Yeah,
Will
this
Smith
is stupid
was charismatic
shit.
as fuck.
Of
in
course,
this
I mean, that
movie.
goes without saying unless you're watching After Earth.
And
Yeah.
he's the main reason I'm not like mad at this movie. It was just I don't think I enjoyed it as much as you guys did.
Oh, I think, well, obviously, like,
well, and I'm not sitting here saying it was a good movie because I don't think it was a good movie.
I thought it was okay.
I think it was. I wasn't bored.
Lord, no.
I was a little
If
bit bored.
if I want to sit down and break it down overly critically, yeah, it was a fucking mess.
The movie's got problems with structure.
It's got
problems with
serious
pacing.
problems with
It's
structures
got
and
problems
pacing.
with priorities. Because I mean,
That
like
too, yeah.
again, when I think about like my favorite parts of superhero movies, it's not the fucking putty fights from Power Rangers in the dark for 25 minutes.
I didn't have a problem with
Just
the dark.
shooting completely identical looking monsters around chest high walls.
That I didn't have a problem with. Maybe it has to do with the fact I saw Jason Bourne last week, in which I almost threw up, and that movie laid there like a corpse.
Aw.
Oh god, fuck that movie.
it's a problem that a lot of superhero movies involving teams have had, where they have the faceless bad guys. Avengers had that problem. The second Avengers movie had that problem too. But they have to give.
I think quips aplenty is what carried those scenes. This one it was just them stoically shooting putties in the
I
darkness.
don't know, they had quips in this movie too.
Actually, this
Occasionally.
movie had too many quips at times.
It didn't always work, but
Okay,
oftentimes...
the quips, it had quips,
Yeah.
but they weren't like that. Again, the stuff that was coming out of Will Smith's mouth was making me laugh, but the
Yeah.
other stuff was just like, "Hey there, Puddin', what's that
Oh,
perfume? The stench of death."
No, that... Yeah.
Pause for laugh track.
I agree with that. That was a line that didn't work me. But for other stuff that she said worked way more than the stuff Killer Croc said worked for me.
That's just the same movie though. But
What?
again, it's quips.
But some quips work and some don't. Like some
Time
of her.
for me to go back to the sewer because that's where I live.
that was-
pause for laugh track.
That was a bad one.
No,
that was a
yeah.
bad one. But yeah, the movie has a lot of quips, and I'll admit some of them didn't work very well. But a lot.
Well, slap me back some good ones.
Oh, I laughed my ass off at the end when Will Smith said to Joel Kinnaman, "Look, why don't you just go up there and slap her in the ass and tell her to cut this shit out?" Because that
His
would.
response is funnier than that. 'Cause,
Because-
I don't think that would be wise.
No, that would be hilarious if that's how it ended.
Honestly,
Look
like,
here, woman.
Or when she said, or when the villain said something like "come to me" or something, and Harley Quinn goes "okay" and turns around. Like I liked when
Pause for laugh track.
I liked when. Why not? I laughed at it, but
I thought
when
that part was like-
Jai Courtney got a lot of laughs.
every
out of
time
me
Jai
in
Courtney
this.
was on screen, I laughed. A
Me
little
too.
bit.
I
Which
thought,
one was he?
Captain Boomerang.
Okay, yeah, he was funny.
yeah,
And- and-
Jai Courtney was great in this.
And it's one of those things. It's just like I've always liked Jai Courtney,
Me too.
and I'm so glad he didn't ruin a movie for once.
What
Jai-
movies has he ruined?
Jai Courtney is one of those actors where
He didn't necessarily ruin any movies. He's just been in a lot of subpar movies.
he's an actor that's I like him as an actor, but there's some stuff that he gets miscast in. He should not have been playing Kyle Reese in Terminator Genesis.
Sean McClane's son.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Well, that no matter who you put in that wouldn't have been good. But he's an actor that sometimes is as good as the role he's given, and the better role he can sink his teeth into, the better he'll be. If he's given something that's dead weight like Kyle Reese in Genesis, there's
There's
not
nothing
that
you can
much
do
you can
with
kind
it,
of do
but-
with it. In this, he had a blast in this, and I think it helped too. He could use his own accent in this
Yeah.
too, because he is Australian.
I was about to ask if he was actually Australian,
Yeah.
because if he wasn't, his accent was very good.
I liked when in the bar when they said like, or you can go or something, and he's the first one to just get up and walk out the door. Like, I got a good laugh out of that. But actually, yeah, Jai Courtney was a lot of the other ones were certainly hit or miss. Even Will Smith, there was some stuff that didn't work for me, but Jai Courtney really kind of got laughs out of me most of the time he did stuff in this film.
Well, and that was with his parts too. He was good enough in it that he was a background character for most of the movie, but he was the perfect kind of background character. Where Killer Croc was a background character too, but all his parts kind of
that didn't
fucking
work for me.
just died.
BET.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All his parts just kind of dropped, and it's like, have him be the big stoic monster in the background. That would have worked, you know?
Yeah, no, I totally agree. Like, I don't know if any of his stuff landed for me. Well, the part
There's
in
one thing that he did that made me laugh, and that's when he crawled down into the sewer and he had been acting all cool and he had like his velour hoodie, and then he took it all off and he's like, "Now, guys, I live in the sewer. You fuckers are just tourists, kathunk." And then he drops to all fours and does a perfect crocodile run into the water.
That that was fun. I liked his
found it-
beautiful line in the bar, because I thought the actors had good chemistry together.
Yeah. Yeah, as soon as Killer Croc took his shirt off,
Yeah.
it kind of his head's so fucking big, and then he
Yeah.
takes off his shirt and his jacket, and it's like, your head's too big, buddy.
Yeah, there was
Like,
some CG that kind of took me out of the movie, especially at the Enchantress at the end.
Oh,
When her head she was doing the Green Lantern thing where her head was staying perfectly still and the rest of her
Yeah.
body was just like flopping around.
With that character, I was like, it's been a while since we had a good old, like, too bad you will die from, like, Mortal Kombat Annihilation. Why not?
every time she was on screen, I just kept thinking, isn't this something from like Beastmaster or Masters of the Universe?
Maybe that's why I couldn't get mad
But
at
I
that.
found but it didn't fit the rest of the movie, so I found it very jarring every time it showed her. Now, when it first showed her, and she was kind of like dirty and covered in smoke and
Ringu?
shit. Like,
Yeah,
that was
exactly.
that was slightly better, but yeah, the whole villain in the movie was just like, I'll even admit that Marvel's had problems with having charismatic
Totally.
villains. I'll admit that, and I've liked almost all of the Marvel movies, but man, this was real bad.
I don't know if I thought this was, well, objectively sure, but like in terms of my enjoyment factor of what was going on in the last act, I don't know if I thought that, for me personally, if I thought it was any worse than some of the lesser Marvel villains, because I don't know, at least this had a certain camp factor to it that was keeping me entertained. And
But I don't think it was camp on purpose, and that's,
I think the true villain was meant to be Amanda Waller.
well, Amanda Waller's a bitch.
I did some research on that character because I read an article and I found her pretty interesting. And I think that Viola Davis did a pretty
She
good
was
job
good,
on it.
yeah.
No, Viola Davis was good. And
she and
was perfect
Kinnaman were
casting.
great. I thought Kinnaman fucking rocked in this movie.
No,
I
Kinnaman
think
was
she could
good
have been a
too.
little more shouty.
His
Yeah.
She was very
his
like,
southern accent went in and out at times, but other than that, yeah, Kinnaman was good.
apparently one of the first appearances of the character Amanda Waller. She was just like shrouded in darkness, so you couldn't really see her.
Yeah.
And the guy she's talking to, they're like kind of doing an interplay, and she's kind of trying to sell the Suicide Squad. It was called something else at the time to
Yeah.
him, and he's like, "You
Task
must
Force
be
X.
out of your cotton picking mind." And then she comes forward out of the blackness, and she's this kind of big, heavy set black woman. She's like, "If you ever call a part of me cotton picking again, I'll take off your stars and shove them up your ass."
I liked when she came back at the end and Will Smith said what I was thinking, which is, shouldn't you be dead? Like, that got a good laugh out of me.
No, yeah,
No,
it's-
this movie could have had her as the main villain or the Joker, which is kind of what I thought it was going to be.
It should have stuck with the Joker because
I think maybe do you think perhaps it was like that in one of the earlier drafts?
Maybe.
Because he definitely just kind of disappeared suddenly. in the
Yeah, I
second
mean,
act.
this did have some reshoots going on. To what extent, I don't know. For me, it wasn't as obvious as like the shit that went on in Fantastic Four.
oh god, no, that it wasn't that obvious.
No.
But you could tell a lot of the humor. I mean, there was more humor in this movie than I expected even from the trailers, and I think maybe that was part of the reshoots that they did, you know. And in some more one-liners. I think you know, putting a lot of focus on the soundtrack probably had something to do with the reshoots in the studio.
I was, there were a couple times in the movie where I was like, I'm not 100% sure why this is playing now, but for the most part, I was fine with it. I thought it was edited into the movie fine. I thought it actually kind of gave some scenes some life a little bit.
I read some reviews.
Some scenes and other scenes, like the first 5 minutes. I'm sorry, I'll let you go in just a second.
Okay.
But the first 5 minutes of the movie, they had
let
like
me go.
10 mute.
The first 5 minutes.
See this ring, woman? The first 5 minutes of the movie had like 10 music cues, and it was just fucking overkill.
It was noticeable, but I didn't think they didn't work in some of the scenes.
I think I could give some context to that because I was starting to say I read some reviews that seemed to be of the impression that first of all the music cues in the first 5 minutes was to give everyone a sort of a theme song. 'Cause, you know, like he had House of the Rising Sun, she had You Don't Own Me, and that a lot of like the kind of oldies were put in there so that this movie could be touted as like, oh, this year's Guardians of the Galaxy.
Which I do get that. I think in a lot of the reshoots they had to be going for more of that Guardians of the Galaxy feel, the fun, energetic thing.
Still keeping it gritty too.
Yeah.
Like this movie had a life to it that was missing in Man of Steel and Batman v Superman.
Oh, this movie was miles above Batman v Superman.
Oh Lord, yeah.
Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
no,
But,
without
for
question.
For every, you know, cutesy one-liner, there'd be, you know, a cut to them force-feeding Harley Quinn through a tube up her nose. And that I found a little jarring.
Force feeding a tube
You
up her
don't
nose.
remember at the
Yeah.
very beginning of the movie when they're showing everyone
Oh,
kind
and
of jail
it's like the
situations,
ice cream thing.
Ike Barinholtz is being Ike Barinholtzy, and it wasn't ice cream. It was like
Well, I know that, but I mean that's
nutritional
what it.
supplement.
Yeah.
And they had like a force feeding tube up her nose and had her strapped to a table. And he was
Yeah.
like, "Which do you want today, chocolate or strawberry?" The joke being, of course, you can't fucking taste it because it's just a tube up her nose.
I didn't have a problem with that.
I found it kind of gross.
I mean, well, yeah.
Which if that was like if that was the tone for the entire movie, of kind of like the disturbing implications of some of the things about these characters, then that's fine. But it seemed like they were like, and here's something super disturbing and gross. Meanwhile, back to the hijinks.
I didn't find it that.
That didn't throw me off.
Yeah.
The way that part of the movie was edited together, where it's a bunch of unnecessary flashbacks, where, you know, go back. This is one of the movies that did the thing that annoys me in a shit ton of movies is, hey, let's flash back to that thing that happened a half hour ago in case you forget.
I hate it when a movie flashes back to itself.
I had a problem with that in the movie too. I mean,
It's fucking annoying. The
Yeah.
movie's not that long. I didn't forget.
Yeah, no, I had a problem with that too. Like, in the first 45 minutes or so of the movie did have a problem with focus, and it did have a problem with editing, much in the same way a lot of Batman v Superman did. The difference being I gave a shit. I at least gave a shit about a lot of the people in this movie. A lot of the scenes still at least had someone there that could kind of carry through it, as opposed to the dead weight that was in
Yeah.
Batman v Superman, with the exception of
No,
Ben Affleck, the only good thing about that movie.
no, the characters really do make this movie fun and entertaining. But, the long and short of it, as a film, do I think it's good? No. Would I watch it again?
Yeah, I would.
Yeah, maybe. Couple drinks. Why not?
Yeah, I'd have no problem doing that. I thought the movie was okay. Like I said, I could, for the flaws that it had, I at least still had fun in like a B action movie, in a B action movie kind of way. Like, it's a group of bad motherfuckers who are going to town to stop some other bad motherfuckers. Like, I had fun with it. Like, it's certainly not a perfect film, but no, I didn't regret sitting there watching the movie at all. For every flaw that the movie had, there was at least something that I was finding enjoyable about it.
Yeah, I'm not quite there, but it was. I think if the DC comic universe keeps going more towards this direction and getting different filmmakers involved, that they're going to be in much better shape than they have been.
People who aren't Zack Snyder.
Honestly, yeah, I hate to fucking say it, but yeah. No, I don't hate to say it, but
I mean, no offense, Zack Snyder. with all due respect.
Fuck you, Zack Snyder. I used to think you were cool.
So not to backtrack or anything, I'm trying to think why it grossed me out so much when they did like the nose force feeding scene, and maybe it's because they just got done like sexualizing the shit out of her. Because like when they first introduced the character, she's got like this weird sort of Hannibal Lecter birdcage situation, which is like a cage in the middle of the room, and she's like rigged up a sort of like Cirque du Soleil swing, and she's in like underpants and a torn up wife beater that says burn after use. And she's just kind of writhing around, and then Ike Barinholtz comes in, and he's like, damn, you sexy, you so crazy, girl, crazy and sexy, come over here. And so she comes over, and she's like licking the bars at him, and he's telling her how pretty she is. And then they electrocute the bars, and then they flash back to her getting her brain turned to pudding by the Joker, and they flash forward to her getting tube fed with the tube up her nose. So I don't know if the movie was trying to also sexualize those situations, or if it's supposed to punish us for finding an obviously mentally ill woman sexy. But it's just, I think that disparity is what I found so jarring and kind of disturbing.
That I didn't necessarily find jarring. I think that the movie worked well in the sense that there's quirky things that are happening here, but at the end of the day, this is still the universe where we saw most of Metropolis get destroyed and just people getting their necks snapped and shit, so there's still dark shit that's happening here. I didn't find it jarring.
Just the dark shit, but it seemed like it was right in the tail end of like a weird sort of striptease.
Well, we have seen some weird strip teases in our life.
We sure have. Poor Skeletor.
Oh, yeah.
Have we ever talked about Skeletor in a video before?
I'm sure we've talked about Skeletor.
In the Magic Mike XXL video, we spent a lot of time talking about stripper stories.
It's just the benchmark for weird stripper stories. But I'm just saying, if like Skeletor had come out on stage, done the hustle, taken off her kit, and then someone had come out and force fed her with a tube up her
was
nose.
that much worse than what we saw?
Only slightly.
Oh, I forgot, it's tube night.
Which is better than amateur night, honestly.
Amateur tube night's very... Nope.
You don't know where that tube's gonna end up going.
Yeah. Like, I would at least recommend it as a matinee.
Matinee or a rental, or it's. I can justify spending money on it if you're interested, and if you're a comic book person, and quite frankly, if you liked Man of Steel or Batman v Superman, you're probably gonna just fucking go apeshit over this. But I can't possibly recommend spending full price to see this in the theater.
I wouldn't say that. That's why I'm like, yeah, matinee, sure.
If you're a chemist or at all concerned about what the effects of acid on a human body would be, I'd say probably give this movie a pass. But Did that not bother you guys?
The acid stuff?
Well, no, because, like, there's... Okay, so they make a new origin story for Harley Quinn where she gets her brain zapped, and the Joker's all like, would you die for me? And she's like, sure. And he's like, would you live for me? And she's like, yeah, all right. I interpret that to mean jump into this vat of acid that will do absolutely nothing to my skin or face or hair.
At this point...
It melted some of their colors off.
I mean, at this point in how many superhero movies I've seen, I've given up them treating acid realistically.
Well, it's not supposed to be. It's a chemical treatment plant. It's not acid.
It said acid on the side.
Did it?
Yeah, it panned down. It was like, this is acid. And they jumped in, and it turned out it was just a mud bath.
One of my favorite movies is The Toxic Avenger. I can deal with this movie.
This is the Toxic Avenger. You can see where they're trying to go with it. It's like, yeah, okay, that's not actually what toxins would do.
I don't think this is trying to be
turned him into a monster.
I don't think this is trying to be realistic towards toxins.
Well, no, but it wasn't even like telling me a story about what they think that acid does. It was just she jumps into this vat of completely inert stuff labeled acid, and then they make out.
Yeah, I had more problem with the blue and red swirl in the acid.
Neither of them were wearing either blue or red. I'm bringing it up at the end because it's really not that big a deal, but it bugged the crap out of me at the time.
I sat there watching that scene thinking, well, the filmmakers are having fun.
Like the acid go into her ear and melt her brain somehow. I don't know, maybe
well, I mean,
it's
like,
the reason her hair managed to stay immaculately bleached while she was in solitary confinement.
It would have done that to Jack Nicholson in the first Batman movie.
Yeah.
It dyed his skin white.
And it melted parts of his glove.
Yes.
I could deal with this movie, like, thinking like, oh yeah, acid, just have a sexy bath, whatever.
I don't
fine
expect
with
a whole
that.
lot of
Sexy
realism out of a movie with a crocodile.
But it was a realistic crocodile, man. Did you see him run? His legs were all kicked out to the side. I'm getting bit. I should not have opened my window.
Oh no. Would you recommend it as like a rental or a
Sure,
Netflix?
whatever.
Like,
I'm sure
watch?
from the ratio in this car alone, I'd say that not everyone's going to be as annoyed by it as I was.
Oh, I'm sure plenty will be.
Well, no, just look at the reviews for it. I mean,
it's not a it's not a well reviewed film.
it's actually a really poorly reviewed film.
But I had fun.
I found it poorly written and kind of boring, but you know, Margot Robbie's got a pretty nice little tuchus, and there are some funny lines, mostly from Will Smith, but also from Jai
Courtney.
Yeah, that might be worth like watching it while you do your nails or whatever boys do when they watch movies that they're not particularly invested in.
I do my nails.
Do your nails again.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I thought it was fine. Trailers?
Snowden.
No, Ryan Mitchell, the movie.
It did look like Ryan Mitchell.
Yeah.
How based on a true story are we talking here?
Well, it's Oliver Stone, so you never fucking know until it comes out.
It's Oliver Stone, so probably not.
Yeah. Somewhere there's an Indian crying and doing acid.
This looked like the Snowden ultimatum.
Yeah.
Man, his story is action-packed.
Like a scene with him doing a Rubik's Cube one-handed down an airport terminal hallway.
Yeah.
I bet that happened in real life.
I like most Oliver Stone movies. It might be fine. I could kind of care less, but like...
I'll watch it because
might be
Joseph
fine.
Gordon-Levitt's the star.
And Nick Cage
I like
is in
that
it.
dude a lot. The camera's crooked. It's driving me crazy. No! Ah, fuck, I just made it worse.
I'll just lean like this so that way it looks... I do that on the couch at home sometimes. I'm like, fuck it, I'll just lean slightly like this.
Yeah, what's next?
Water
Deepwater Horizon.
Horizon.
Deepwater Event Horizon.
Yes.
Yes.
Mark Wahlberg is on a thing that's exploding at sea.
I like most Peter Berg movies that aren't Battleship.
It's got Kurt Russell in it.
Forgot about Battleship.
Yeah, Battleship.
I was so excited for that movie. I was like, yeah, it's a movie based on the board game Battleship starring Sarsgaard.
I'm going off again.
was-
And I did the I Told You So dance twice in one review.
Hey, it lasted at least 40 minutes.
Was it a
No,
good
it
40
started
minutes
going
this
off
time?
halfway through the review.
Oh, did it really?
Yeah, sure did.
Oh, I missed that.
Me too.
No, the movie, yeah, I don't know, it'll probably be fine, I guess. But yeah, oh yeah, we were at Battleship that night. I think Irving and Brian were at What to Expect When You're Expecting.
That's right, yeah.
Because we came out and our movie was terrible, but we couldn't say shit because their movie was worse.
Yeah, it was like when me and Brian got out of Rock of Ages the night you were at That's My Boy. It's like, what are me and Brian gonna say? Like, our movie was terrible.
Could have been worse. Sausage Party.
I can't wait.
Dear God.
That's next week. I am so excited.
I'm probably not going to go to that one, but it does look very, very funny.
I want to see that.
I am so excited. I'm so glad that's next week.
Assassin's Creed.
The trailer's fun. I know I haven't played the games, but
Neither have
I know fans
played
of
the
the
first
game
two.
don't seem too happy about that trailer.
They changed the bejesus out of it because in the game it's just some schmo named Desmond, I think, and he goes to a government facility and they're like, "Now we're gonna go into your brain so that we can track your past lives." And the first game is one past life, and the second game is another past life, and so on throughout. That I liked the second one. Apparently, it's one of the better ones where he plays Ezio, but it's. From the trailer, it looks like they took like a death row inmate, pretended to murder him, and then like stuck him to a GLaDOS-looking machine gun arm. And so maybe they're mad that it's not Desmond, but Desmond was boring, and the only fun and those games are fun because you get to like run and jump and parkour off of shit, not because it's got a
Nice.
particularly engrossing storyline. So I don't know what they're whining about.
I thought the trailer looked fine, and it's I've never played the games either,
Yeah,
so I've got no investment in it other than I thought the trailer looked fine, and
yeah. I can only base it on
Fassbender's
the trailer.
a solid actor, and
Mm-hmm.
yeah, all right.
Wonder Woman.
Looks good.
I'm genuinely excited about
Yeah.
that one, and I don't generally tend to like the DC ones, but
No, it's
I liked her in Batman v Superman.
yeah,
Yeah, she was fine in that.
Yeah, this trailer was a cut down version of the Comic-Con trailer, which I thought was a really good trailer. It's honestly, trailer wise, by far this one appeals to me the most out of any of the DC movies.
I was pretty. I liked the Suicide Squad trailers.
Oh,
But no, I think Wonder Woman looks fine.
I want to go home. It's so hot in this car.
You're right.
It really is.
War Dogs. They're selling guns.
We
It
don't need to
looks- it
talk
looks
about
good.
War Dogs anymore.
Dunkirk.
Oh, the Nolan movie.
Yeah,
Yeah, it's Christopher Nolan.
Oh,
I'm interested.
No idea what that movie is about. I think
Well,
it's World War One.
War, bro.
they
War.
were wearing the Doughboy hat, so I would say World War One, but who knows?
It's Nolan. It could be in the future.
I'll Google Dunkirk. I'm sure it's some famous battle.
Wow, that's a lot of porn.
Soldiers versus aliens.
And then the Great Wall, which you guys were laughing during that previews. I think maybe that's something that I missed news-wise.
It's yeah. There's this. There's a lot of backlash lately about whitewashing in Hollywood, you know, as there should be.
And so that was a movie about the Great Wall starring Matt Damon.
Right, and you know the trailer and a couple images came out, and huge backlash erupted. And the director of the movie came out today and was like, "Watch the movie, please. There's a reason I wouldn't have cast a white have some faith
It
in
seemed
me."
like the director had kind of a Chinese-sounding name.
He is,
Chinese.
yeah,
Yeah.
like one of the biggest names in Chinese filmmaking. And a lot of people were giving like, you know, Hollywood needs to get this right. And it's like, this movie was like funded and made in China. Like this.
Well, I mean, Matt Damon should feel fine because if you've seen the poster for the movie, it looks exactly like Leonardo DiCaprio.
Does it?
Yes,
All white guys look alike.
But
it's very. I've been saying this for years.
honestly, I thought it looked like
It's kind of pink and roundy.
I thought the trailer looked like it would be something I'd probably enjoy.
Yeah, I mean, it doesn't look bad.
There's a mosquito in this car. It's biting the crap out of me, and I think we're done. So are we done?
Yeah,
We're
we're
done.
done.
Okay. Bye.
See ya.